Alrighty. Today's video is about IBS. I will hit up all my other digestive issues. Technically, my methods of recovery fixes everything. So it's irrelevant if it's IBS, ulcerative colitis, or diverticulitis, or SIBO, or whatever your gut issue is. Whatever it is, the fix is the same across the board. But to get people's interest with their specific problems, I'm going to have specific videos. So this one's about IBS. So I had IBS. I started having it 2.5 years ago. Along with, of course, everything else. Sometimes it was hard to tell what was IBS, what was, what, because I had everything at the same time, it seemed like. So for the first, when I started getting IBS, I had the diarrhea IBS, and I had the constipation. So it was either or, and it was very rarely did I, in the beginning stages of recovery, did I have something that was nice and normal. There was always some sort of issue. So with IBS, I had a lot of pain on the lower part of my gut. A lot, like probably 80% on the side left. And top right here. They were like stabbing gas pains. And they felt like literally somebody's stabbing you with a knife. And man, the farts were fucking brutal. Brutal. Like, even a little one would fucking destroy a room. It would destroy myself. I'd be like, and you know what's fucked up? When your farts trigger you. Because when you smell something, you're like, oh, that's bad. Oh no, maybe I have Crohn's, or maybe I have my ulcerative colitis is going crazy, or maybe I, IBS or whatever. Or maybe, I have diverticulitis again, or maybe I have colon cancer, or, oh yeah, trigger alert, by the way. So what I'll do is I'll talk about all the things that I felt with the symptoms, so people can go, oh my goodness, that's me. Oh, I felt that. Right? And know that it's irrelevant what you felt. It's irrelevant what symptoms you had, because the fix is all the same. You will recover. Right? Not just with gut issues, but with any symptom that you have, mental or physical. People like to go into detail of, did you feel this or did you feel that? Well, I feel kind of like this. And, I felt good, then it came back. And then now now it's worse. And now, and then I had shock treatment, and now it's really bad. And now, and then I was off the benzos, and then now I have. So it's a lot of talking about symptoms. It's a lot of talking about how you got the symptoms. It's a lot of, special detailed symptom descriptions. Did you have this symptom? Yeah, but was it this symptom? Was it? And you know what? It doesn't matter. It's good to understand how it happened, kind of, so you can have an overall picture. But really, it's irrelevant, because when you're recovered, does it really matter where it came from, or if you have a gene mutation, or if you have SIBO because right, whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. It's good to know what causes people to have a state of fight or flight. When you're in a state of fight or flight, you have gut issues. You have your body's not balanced. It's not regulating properly. You get oh, my dog's napping over here. I got two dogs, Lemmy and Dolly, and they're both chilling. They were out at the farm running around the fields. So now they're just taking a little nap. So, yeah, with this, what was I saying? So, when you're in fight or flight, your body's not detoxifying properly. You're not absorbing nutrients properly. So you'll have fatigue and sore muscles, and your body's trying to get your attention because it's in an alarm state. So it's going to send you symptoms. All kinds of symptoms, weird symptoms that don't make sense, symptoms that are scary. It's trying to get your attention, so it's going to take something to get your attention. And it's brilliant, because it needs you to pay attention to perceive danger And that's what the alarm is. That's the point of the alarm, right? So back to IBS. So I had the pains here, left side, bottom, and this was ongoing for about 2 years. In the beginning, I didn't try to fix it. I knew that digestion was going to be one of the last things to fix, or I should say, recalibrate. Because I think, symptoms have their order. When it comes to like muscle tension, usually that's last. Because, trying to fix muscle tension first, you'll be chasing your tail. Because if you're looping on thoughts, or you have anxiety the one day, or you're, whatever you're dealing with that day, you're going to tense up, right? If you're doing exposures, if you're doing, whatever part of your journey, usually you're going to have tense muscles. And with digestion, if you're in a state of fight or flight, there's no point in working with digestion first, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a shit show, literally, right? So you have to be patient. With me, I waited to work on my digestion until I brought my baseline down. And I have videos about bringing your baseline down and the 5 keys of recovery. You can check that out. So with any video that I make, I always will say, check out the 5 keys of recovery and start today. So yeah, with IBS, I started having, I'd say, the constipation and the diarrhea. And I'd eat something because I had 2 safe foods, right? Because I was sensitive to every food. All of a sudden, within a couple of days, all of a sudden I couldn't eat anything. The only thing my gut would somewhat digest, without freaking out, was rice and beef. So I'm assuming, well, I know from the carnivore diet that meat digests very easily. There's a lot of nutrients in it. So thank goodness that my safe foods were some sort of beef, and not, something that's, like a chili where I'd be screwed then. Because I had to take my time with introducing foods. I wasn't ready yet. My baseline was too high. And it was going to take a year and a half for it to be low enough for me to start training on foods. So I was living off rice and beef, steak. And I lost a ton of weight. I was 175. And this was for me being before 220, 230. So a lot, it was kind of cool, but the journey of me being sick wasn't that cool. It was horrible, actually. So there's, so I'm dealing with the IBS. I'm in fight or flight, and I choose to just eat my 2 safe foods for a while. I didn't bother trying to train because I tried, and it was just too sensitive. It was so sensitive that, and believe this, trust me, this really happens. And know that this is because you're in a state of fight or flight. Digestive issues are only because of that. 99% of the time, digestive issues are because you're in a survival state of fight or flight, and that's it. There's no other issues. People talk about, well, it's because your biome is unbalanced. You need to have bacteria. You have to bring back your biome to a balance. Technically, that's not the reason. Yes, the biome is affected. The reason the biome is affected is because you are in a state of fight or flight. So it'll affect the biome. It affects everything in your body and your mind. Once you figure out and recalibrate and bring your baseline down in your mind, your limbic system, and you hardwire that in as your new baseline, then guess what? Your biome repopulates itself. It comes into balance on its own without any sort of special diets, without any special supplements or probiotics or you name it. It does it itself with ease, not a problem. And your digestion starts to regulate. And all your problems, poof, go away. You can start having nice, relaxing stools. You actually, taking a shit is a nice, good time. I used to love taking a shit. I used to sit down, take my time. I used to always take long shits because I liked it. it was one of those, down times. Okay, this is my time, my privacy. I'm gonna take a shit. I'm gonna take good shit. So I would, relax, and it would just go slowly. I would never have to push. I never pushed in my life. Slowly, and then toilet, and a little bit at the end. Done. Beautiful. And a little wipe. Flush the toilet. Magic. It was beautiful. It was heaven. And then on with my day. Well, at that point I used to get really sad about, I miss having those great shits. Now it was a fucking literal shit show. It was a fucking trauma event every time I took a shit because I would have bloody diarrhea. Oh yeah, trigger alert. It's gonna be lots of that. Bloody diarrhea or constipation so bad that I felt like I was passing a fucking rock. And I could feel the shit log in the side of my gut. Like it was a fucking, a huge fucking piece of coal. And then you'd feel it pass through and you're like, oh, that's gotta be damaging. That's gotta hurt my colon. That's, oh my God. And little looping thoughts. And so it always switched over. And the gas was so disgusting. And the diarrhea, and you had to go urgently. And the stabbing pains were so bad. And believe me, like I was saying earlier, I was about to say, I would literally put something to my mouth and I would have gut pains. So I wasn't even swallowing it yet, digesting it yet. It hasn't even gone to my colon. It hasn't even gone to my ass, out my rectal. It hasn't even done that yet. And I would have gut pains. So if there was like a food that I was sensitive to, and I would eat it anyway, forgetting or just because I wanted to, I would have it in my mouth and I would let's say, start chewing. Within 10 minutes, I'd have crazy gut pains. I'm like, well, what's going on? I haven't eaten anything in a day. I haven't, I've been, what's the difference? I'm like, and I didn't think anything of it. And that happened continuously. I was like, wow, my brain is seeing me put this food in my mouth. My eyes are like my surveillance cameras. My nose, everything, it's turning from enjoying food to this is a border immigration security system going nuts, thinking that we got terrorists entering the mouth, and alarm, send pain. Like I would have, my colon would be in pain, my gut would be in pain, I'd have gas, but I didn't even, my food barely went into my stomach. So then I started realizing, I'm like, man, I am so hypersensitive that my brain is not even letting me, digest a little bit. It's already fucking kicking shit out when it's in my mouth. And yeah, of course, when it's digesting, I would have the pains. And of course, the whole process would be a pain in my butt and my gut. So the whole process sucked because you have to understand also, digestion takes longer, right? Compared to other symptoms, you have a quick reaction, you have the instant reaction. If you don't like a smell, you'll know that minute you don't have a smell, and you have that reaction, and symptoms pop up right away. With digestion, sometimes it could take a day before you have a reaction, and then you can't tell what food it was, because that week you might have eaten a couple of different things, and then you're trying to write a diary and trying to be Sherlock Holmes and trying to figure it out what you ate. And then you go down these rabbit holes of investigating and looking at your shit and going, whoa, was it this? Why does my shit look like that? And then you get triggered and you go into looping thoughts. That was me, constantly. I was investigating my poop. I was the poop investigator, looking at my poop, and it was triggering. And it put me in a fight or flight state. And of course, when that happened, I'd have diarrhea, and then bloody diarrhea. And then when I saw that, well, I'd be looping again. It might be my baseline would go up, and I'd be in a spike. And then I'd have constipation, and then so I was fueling my own IBS and diverticulitis, ulcerative colitis, and all the other ones. But we're talking about IBS today. I was fueling it with my fear and my OCD looping thoughts. My OCD was there because it wants me to investigate. It wants me to scan for danger. And I was scanning for danger within myself, right? It wasn't for a tiger or a lion down the street or something, another tribe's person that's going to attack me, that's behind me. No, it's myself. My own body has become my own perceived danger within. So that's really difficult because then you get triggered, baseline goes up, brain sends more alarms, more symptoms, and here we go again, over and over and over again. So that was very difficult for me. And I had to resort to avoidance behaviors. So I avoided foods and just stuck to the rice, stuck to the beef. And once I got my baseline down with, doing my visuals, elevating every day, allowing my thoughts and my alarms to ring wild, follow the 5 key elements in one of my videos and you'll see. When I did my program, I started to bring my baseline down and I was able to slowly reintroduce other foods. So I did that. And, all of a sudden I got 5 foods in. Usually when you introduce one food, 5 foods come in. Because the nervous system works, generate all across the board. So, if you all of a sudden you're able to eat a banana, you'll probably eat avocado and 3 other things that are that you were sensitive to, and now you're not. And all of a sudden I was, tomato was harder, orange juice was hard, anything citrus, things with histamines, anything that you put in the fridge that isn't fresh, that has histamines in it, I would react. My symptoms from reacting was bloody diarrhea, lots of pain, stabbing pains, rectal pain. My blood pressure would go up and down. My heart rate would go up and down. It was like this. Rashes, itchy eyes, chest pains, problems breathing. Felt like I could barely get any breath in. It felt like I was labored breathing. It felt like there was an elephant sitting on my chest. It felt like, I felt like I had the flu, headaches, brain fog. I felt high and crippling anxiety, panic attacks. So that was the majority of the symptoms. I had other ones too. I just can't remember them. And so you can imagine, well, you don't want to feel like that because your brain loops on ideas. Well, maybe you have this horrible disease. It's not just IBS. Maybe, look at you now. Look at this is going to get worse. You have to go to the hospital. You got to go get a CT scan. And a couple times I slipped and I went and got checked and they got annoyed with me. They're like, no, you're fine. It's not an emergency. Your heart is fine. Your oxygen is fine. You're not dying. So go, right? Unless it's a life or death situation, they frown upon that. So here, I was going to check my camera. It's still running. We're good. All right. So I went on with my journey. I would try out foods, but sometimes they would kick me out and I'd be back to 2 foods. So I'd have 5, 10, 20 foods in. And all of a sudden something, because I was exposing myself to all kinds of things in life, not just food. And I would be in a spike, and then guess what? All those foods, I can't eat them again. I'd have crazy flares that would last me 3 weeks at a time. 2 to 3 weeks from eating one little thing. If I ate one little thing of tomato, like that, or there was a tomato ingredient in something that I ate, and I didn't know about it, guess what? I was in a flare for 3 weeks. And that means bloody diarrhea, usually on the toilet for a couple of hours. Really uncomfortable, very scary, looping thoughts about what's going on. So eventually, I was able to have like 5 foods. I started gaining leverage. My baseline's starting to calm down. I'm getting a little bit more foods. But then, there was a point where I was stuck. I wasn't gaining any more foods. It was still, I was only at able to have 25. And I was like, I really want to be able to eat more foods. So what I did is I did exposure therapy to my symptoms with foods. So, and I use this method for everything else. I'm like, why don't I use it for my digestion, for my IBS? So what I did is I was, at a level where I wasn't as sensitive, but I still got my reactions, right? And I still had my avoidance foods. But I thought, okay, now it's time. Let's do it. I'm ready. I can handle this now. I've learned a lot, and I can do it. So I would eat stuff and get a flare for 3 weeks. And it sucked. And I did it again. It sucked. Then I saw a pattern. I'm like, do you notice that everything always passes? You're okay. You'll be fine. It will pass. Yes, you're uncomfortable. Yes, it sucks. But you're okay. You're alive. You didn't have to go to the hospital. You didn't need any medications. You didn't need, you're okay. It's very uncomfortable. Yeah, I know it sucks. You're looping about what it could be. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing my flares on purpose. So I did that. I kept having flares till it became a routine. Oh, I'm having a flare. Oh, I got the fucking crazy farts. Oh, I'd have a fart in the car. It would fucking stink in the car, and I'd be like, triggered because I'm like, oh, here we go again. But I'm like, wait a minute. This is the same bullshit I've been dealing with for 2 months, and I'm okay. So that would help. I gained leverage. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to eat that piece of tomato. I'm going to eat that whatever and cause a reaction and cause a trigger a stress response on purpose. So in a way, I was behind the driver's, I was taking the wheel, right? I was in control of creating reactions. And that was good to have because before I was out of control, I had no answers. At least this way, I am in control of feeling like shit. And that's something. So then I would, near the second week or third week, and now my flares started going only a week and a half. I'm like, okay, that's nice. I'll take it. So then when they only lasted a week and I started feeling better because I would eat the food, get in a flare, and then I would eat my safe foods, right? So then I thought, okay, instead of going back to my safe foods and waiting a week to get better, I'm going to do my safe foods and then go back to my trigger foods and drag out my flare as long as I can. So I maintained a flare for more than a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I'd give it a break. I'm like, okay, let's do that again. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Let go. All right, safe foods. All right. And when I did that, what was happening was I was getting used to my symptoms. And the fear started to come down because I normalized these symptoms. I didn't get scared anymore. That was the point. I was teaching myself to be afraid of my symptoms, to be okay with being afraid, being okay with having symptoms there. Even though it was hell, I was forcing myself to get used to them, to get uncomfortable with them, and have a routine with the discomfort. So I got discomfortable every day. And then I would drag them out longer and longer. And I did this for 8 months of dragging out flares. So it was almost like a constant flare for 8 months. And what I noticed when I normalized them and I was indifferent to the symptoms and they almost became a comfort feeling. I was like, oh, those stinky farts again. You know what? It's like seeing an old buddy again. Because I know I'm going to be fine. Because I've been through this 1,000 times. So it was comfortable. It was my comfort. So I ran towards the diarrhea, the bloody diarrhea, the stinky gas. Because I knew I'd be fine. Which is weird, right? You never think you'd be running towards these horrible symptoms. But that's what I did. And I kept repeating that. And I also stopped looking in the toilet. Right? I'm like, why don't I just give myself a little break? Stop looking at the toilet, seeing if everything's okay. Stop looking if you're okay. Because if you're doing that, what are you looking for? If the coast is clear from what? Danger? Well, if you're doing that, you're teaching the brain that there is danger and there is a reason to put the alarms up. So I stopped looking there, and I just let anything go in the toilet, whatever it was, let it be, right? Let the shit show begin and let it go crazy. So I kept doing that, and then I started being able to eat more things, and my stools started becoming normal, and I had regular shits, and I had less gas, and the stabbing pains would come once in a while. They still had them, but they came once in a while, not every day, every single minute, right? Once in a while, and then eventually they were gone. Poof. And then eventually I would purposely try to trigger them, and nothing would come. I'm like, man, am I building a gut of steel? This is amazing. I started eating chili. I was looking for a stress response. I was purposely triggering a stress response. When I tried chili in the beginning, I was like, oh, fuck, oh, right? Beans, oh, right? But I did the same method, and now I eat chili like it's lava. It's like I'm eating lava. And it's so hot, and I'm doing it on purpose. And I actually enjoy it. I love it. And my poop is barely hot. You know how you got this shitty, hot shit? Well, this is like lukewarm. You know? Yeah. It's all right. It's good. I like it. It's fun. But anyway, that's what I had to do. I had to trigger myself and go towards the discomfort with the IBS and invite it in and ask for more. Right? And not survive through the process. I had to engage and live my life every day. Even though I had IBS issues, I'd be like, okay, IBS, cool. I triggered it. I'm triggering it again today, and we're going to go out and do the grass. And we're going to go out and schedule our day. Right? And yeah, there was times I had to fucking run to the washroom, but I would walk to the washroom. And I would do whatever I had to do and then continue with my day. I kept my routine up. I acted like I was fine with the discomfort. I brought it with me. I go, well, you know what? We got to go to the mall. We got to get some shoes. So let's go. Let's come with me symptoms along with the other 68 symptoms that I had, right? Which is kind of a blessing because, and kind of not. It's kind of a blessing because you can focus on other symptoms that are fucking devastating, not just IBS, right? It's like, oh, your ear's ringing, or you have pain here, or your heart hurts, or let's focus on my heart today, okay? And leave the shit show a little bit. And that worked. It's crazy. So I kept doing that, and my IBS issues resolved as a consequence because I wasn't trying to fix it. I wasn't trying to get rid of it. I wasn't trying to figure it out anymore, right? I allowed it to be its own shit show and gave it space just to do its thing, to go crazy, go wild. And when I did that, eventually my baseline came down. I showed my brain that the perceived dangers are not there. And we started turning off these alarms, these symptoms. And I was living life. And because of that, my IBS went away. And it's gone. And during that journey, I used to watch these videos because I was looking for reassurance about people. I'm like, is this IBS? This better be IBS and not, some dreaded other thing. And I learned that people have been dealing with this for years and years and years, and they never got better. And that was also a trigger for me because I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to have IBS for the rest of my life. Well, that sucks. Right? It was a doubt, but I'm like, no. I had to reassure myself, no. You're on a different program. You're one of those people that are special. I'm like, nobody's special. I'm like, nobody, this isn't magic. This isn't, one of these, shows that you watch where a person, has this magical moment happening, or a miracle. That's the word, miracle. I'm not a miracle person. I'm not going to have a miracle. But I had to remember, you did recover from a lot of things. This is different. This is recalibrating your nervous system. This is running a new program. We found the root cause. We have the answers. We know what we're doing. And 99% of the information out there, yes, it makes you feel doubtful. It makes you feel like, why the fuck and how the fuck are you going to recover? Dude, no. You're going to believe the 99% of the bullshit that's out there, and you're going to be that. I'll put the light on. It's a little dark. So, yeah, the doubt came in, it creeped in, and yes, it showed its face, but I said, I don't care. This is different. I'm on a different path. This is new. Not many people know about this information. Not many people know you can recover from ulcerative colitis without having to do coping mechanisms, without using supplements, without using diets. Just being free of ulcerative colitis and IBS and diverticulitis and SIBO and name whatever gut issue right here. You can be free of that. And my hope is to go back onto these videos, these YouTube videos, and drop some bombs. My hope is to go back on these histamine groups on Facebook and drop some bombs, because they don't like it when you tell them you can recover. They don't like it. Because some of these people are miserable and they don't believe that you can recover. They live in a different reality, and they don't think it's fair that anybody else should do well. So they bring everybody down with them. And I think some of these groups, most of these groups, are actually poisonous, because it keeps you stuck and it keeps you sick. So I'm going to have to drop some bombs, some love bombs, so that people know there is a way out. You can have your life back. You can be free and cured and thrive. So that's my goal. So this was the video of IBS. I think the next video will be about ulcerative colitis or another gut issue, or just poop, because I had other issues that related to poop. So we'll get to that. All right. Have a good day, everybody. And yeah, I'll be pumping out more videos as soon as I can. I've just been so busy. My YouTube channel is starting to get more subscribers now, so I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible. So bear with me, but I'll push out a lot more videos when I can. Alrighty. So have a good weekend, and chat soon.